Hello and welcome back to Cartola FC English, the only English content on Cartola. My name is Sean. Let's get into Game Week 16. We will start with a review of last week, and it was finally a bounce back week for me. 87.6 points, a full 30 points above the average. I think the average for top 50K was probably around 79 points, high 70s. So above the average, and I finally got a green arrow. First time in, I think, 5 weeks. So bounce back there. And it was mainly due to Mateus Cunha, the goalkeeper, 14.5 points. He was the difference maker. I did captain Vitor Roque with a goal. That was nice. Chiquinho Suarez disappointed, 1.6 points. Botafogo still got the win, though. Midfield, another disappointment there. Vitor Bueno should have went with Eric over him. Rafael Vega was kind of my differential, and he had a kind of a point blank sitter that he hit over the bar, so that was tough. But Gustavo Gomez, nice score. Marlon, as always, really good score. So nice bounce back week for me. Let's take a look at next week. All right, back to normal this week. All teams will be playing Palmeiras, Fortaleza, Flamengo, America Mineiro. They kick us off. We will know those lineups. Should be interesting with those two teams. However, at the start of the season, we targeted Palmeiras and Flamengo a bunch of times, and now they are pretty disappointing. So they're not kind of locks in the team as you would expect them to be against these opponents at home with the lineups. It's just not the case now. So keep an eye out on those lineups. Cuiabá, Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo with a nice game last week. If you went Caleri, I think he had a brace against, I think it was Santos. I would stay away. Cuiabá is kind of a sneaky good team, stats wise, and I would stay away from them. Tough place to play. Bahia, Corinthians, might stay away from them, although Corinthians are picking up some form. Grêmio home to Atletico Mineiro. This is a very interesting matchup. Grêmio is outplaying Atletico Mineiro. A lot of people went Hulk last week, and he failed to score. Atletico Mineiro struggling to create chances of recent. Red Bull Bragantino home to Inter. Bragantino, they lost last week to Botafogo, but stats wise, they held up their own, and at home, very tough place to play. And they're a good team. They're a good side. Santos home to Botafogo. Cruzeiro home to Goiás. Vasco home to Atlético Paranaense, and Coritiba faces Fluminense. So, gonna be an interesting week. We do have a lot of good home matchups, teams with, pickable players with home matchups. However, I am eyeing Botafogo at Santos. Santos has been struggling, and as we know, Botafogo is flying, so let's take a look. Team attack, XG, you can see there on the left, ranking is up to 48,000, back into the top 50K. All right, so Team Attack XG, Gremio and Atletico Paranaense are in the top tier, creating over 2 XG per game. That is outstanding. Bragantino short of them in third, 1.74 for Red Bull Bragantino. Palmeiras and America Mineiro in the top 5 positions there. At the bottom, Cruzeiro. They were at the top not too long ago. Now they are in last. Funny how things change. Corinthians down there and Flamengo down there with them as well. So Flamengo is struggling to create chances. Arrascaeta is kind of a nailed pick week in and week out, but a lot of people are going Gabby this week. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. It's also interesting to see Botafogo in 13th, only creating 1.12 XG in the last 5, but it hasn't seemed to matter for them. Defense XG. See Red Bull Bragantino way ahead in the top position, 0.58 in the last 5. That is outstanding. Surprisingly, Fluminense in there in second, Vasco, Cuiabá in fourth. Sao Paulo in 5th. So some interesting numbers on the defensive side of the XG tables. And yeah, you can see Botafogo 16th. That is surprising for them to be that low in both the attack and defense XG tables, but they're still winning every match, it seems. So will that come to an end? You might say so, but Botafogo has some sort of magic to them this season. It's tough to bet against them. Santos, Flamengo, and Bahia are the bottom 3 teams. And yeah, we have Santos in 18th. They have really given up a lot of chances in the last 5 and given up a lot of goals. We're talking 3 goals a match. And I do like Chiquinho Suarez for this week. Players suspended this week due to card suspensions. Roger Guedes. He would be a nice option at Bahia, even though Roger Guedes is more of a kind of a counter-attacking specialist. He's going to miss this week, along with German Cano, another would-be option. Vitor Cuesta for Botafogo is going to be out. They do have a road match, so I don't see too many people going with their defenders, especially with the high IMPV. Di Placido killed it last week. 2 Atletico Mineiro defenders could lead to some nice Gremio attacking options. Fortaleza missing some players. Add Palmeiras. Yeah, not too many other players of note, but yeah, it should be interesting for Gremio attackers. We will take a look at the attackers XG table. Vitor Roque, 0.70 XGA. No one is really close to him. Luis Suarez is in second at 0.58. So Vitor Roque is crushing it. Average of over almost 10 points per match. Going to be a nice option this week. I think they're away to Vasco. Luis Suarez at home this week. Nice option as well. A lot of people look at Gabby. 0.49 XGA. Does not include the penalties. Low MPV. But Flamengo is struggling to create chances. They're in the bottom 3 for attack XG in the last 5. You compare that to Gremio and Luis Suarez, top spot, and Atletico Paranaense, Vitor Roque, second spot, over 2 XG. I think Flamengo's creating 0.9 XG, so under a goal per match. Tough to go against those. And then I think the third spot's got to go with Chiquinho Suarez, 0.46 XGA. Does not include penalties either. Low MPV, but Santos is really struggling. You can see here Santos gave up 4 goals to Sao Paulo, 3 goals to Goiás at home, 3 goals to Cuiabá, 3 goals to Flamengo, 2 to Corinthians. So they're giving up loads of chances in the last I think 5 matches in the league. Palmeiras has a home match. You could look at Dudu and Artur. You can also look at Eduardo Sasha for Red Bull Bragantino. It's just frustrating with him. Very likely to get pulled out of the game around the 60-minute mark. Midfielders. I do like Rafael Veiga and Arrascaeta, and we will be confirmed that they are going to start, as they are the first matches this week. Nice home matchups for them. Could go Vitor Bueno, kind of the same lines as Eduardo Sasha. He's going to get pulled probably 60, 70-minute mark. And they are on the road. I do like Gremio midfield options. Villasante, Bitello, and Cristaldo. Cristaldo is on penalties. He's probably the pick of the bunch for me. Home matchup. Atletico Mineiro is struggling. I do like Cristaldo. A lot of people might go Gerson for Flamengo. League leader in assists so far this season, but he just does not shoot enough for me to pick him under a shot per match on average. I'd much rather go with the Gremio guys. Fullbacks. Marlon, I think, is an auto pick every week. We're at the point of the season where he should have built up, a decent amount of money, where picking players with a high MPV. In this case, Marlon has an MPV over 10 points. Should not be an issue since he's just so automatic. For the other pick, could go a Flamingo, Lateral in Ayrton Lucas or Wesley. Decent stats for them. Ronaldo for Gremios has the highest XGA here, 0.30 per match. He's a nice pick, but I do like Red Bull Bragantino. They've been outstanding defensively, underlying stats-wise. Juninho Capixaba, 0.25 XGA, very high average so far this season. He is the second fullback for me. Center backs, not as many good options. Going along with the Bragantino defense, I like Luan Patrick, 0.19 XGA, pretty decent. You can see here, not too many great attacking threats here on this list. Only Gustavo Gomez is higher than Luan Patrick, and I do like him as another pick. So Gustavo Gomez, Luan Patrick, they both have nice home matches this week. Two good defenses, and high chance at a clean sheet, and maybe an off chance at a goal. Goalkeeper is the position where it's maybe the hardest to pick, but if you pick the right one, it can really make or break your week, as it did last week for me with Cunha. I really like. It's tough, Luca Perry and Cunha, they have the highest saves per match, pretty much guaranteed to get you, 4 or 5 points baseline, but very high MPVs for them this week. Clayton and Weverton, going along the same lines of Palmeiras and Red Bull Bragantino defense. I do like those picks. Clayton might be the most popular pick this week. Very low price for him, low MPV. But you can see here, he just doesn't pick up a lot of saves per match, and he's facing a team in Inter that does not really, get a lot of shots on target. So might go Weverton or Clayton this week. Here's my team at the moment. Vitor Roque, Luis Suarez, Chiquinho Suarez in attack. Arrascaeta, Cristaldo, Rafael Veiga, Marlon, Gustavo Gomez, Luan Patrick, and Juninho Capixaba, with Clayton as the goalkeeper with the goalkeeper hack, and Abel Ferreira for Palmeiras as the manager. So I'm not really sure who to captain this week. There's a lot of options you could go. There's no standout option. Right now I have it on Vega, but could change. I do kind of want my captain to be on penalties, so we do have some options, Vitor Roque, Chiquinho, Cristaldo, Rafael Vega, so could have some options. I captained Marlon the other week. He could be another pick, but yeah, not really sure where to go there. Here's the most popular team of the week. You can see a lot of Flamengo picks. Sampaoli, Cunha, Ayrton Lucas, Everton Ribeiro, Arrascaeta, and Gabby captain. So I'm kind of fading Flamengo. They haven't been too impressive stats-wise, and they're coming off kind of an emotional, derby against Fluminense. Gabby did have a nice goal ruled out in that game, but yeah, I might fade them. And a lot of people, yeah, no Gremio picks on here, so kind of fading Flamengo to go for Gremio picks, and Red Bull Bragantino as well. So should be interesting this week. That's all for me. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.